Okay, so objection today is figuring out how to go after for sale by owners, how to handle objection handling, how to talk to them, and then ultimately how to convert them from wanting to try to sell themselves to what is the benefit of using a professional. So what is a for sale by owner? I think everybody knows what a FSBO is. FSBO, so medium age of a FSBO, a designation in real estate includes anyone who's trying to sell their property without going through a realtor. Average age is about 59. Medium income about 100 grand, 106,000. 40% are first-time sellers. So majority of FSBOs have never sold before. Medium square footage. This is all from NAR that you got these stats.
Yes.
So NAR. Medium selling price across the county, 210. And agents assisted homes sold for average of 249. So if for sale sold to someone, he or she needed here, okay, they dropped. Hey, Elizabeth. So why homeowners become FSBOs? So homeowners obviously know that their home better than anybody else. Their local community is in their midst of selling market. They think they can sell easier without your help. So ultimately, they think they can sell without your help. They want to maximize their profit. The biggest thing is I don't want to pay. You know, I want to save money, and I feel that I can do it better than you, and I can save money by doing it. That is ultimately everybody's. With the growth of the internet and major listing sites, it takes FSBO listings. More people believe that they can sell their home on their own and save thousands in commissions. So valid reason right there. Hey, if I can save money to do it myself, what are the disadvantages of a FSBO? So definitely write these down because these are your objection handlings. This is how when talking to a FSBO, okay, scams. Everybody hears about that, but scams happen. FSBO scams happen to both buyer and seller with little recourse besides hiring an attorney. Common scams include fraudulent paperwork, appraisals, loan documentation, foreign buyers' deposits. So, oh, I got a buyer and he's trying to buy and I'm going to send you over some money. They send bad checks, purchasing through third parties or fake attorneys, and asking for personal information. So a lot of times they don't even realize that what they're giving out, they're not even looking to buy, they're just trying to get personal information. A seller has the highest amount of liability possible. So when a buyer is purchasing, he's not liable for things that the seller forgets to disclose to him. So when these sellers, I always use this line, you have insurance for your car, you have insurance for your life, you have insurance for everything in the world, but when you go to sell your house as a for sale by owner, you have no insurance. And this is the biggest transaction that you typically have in a lifetime, and you're going to do it uninsured with no experience behind it as well, because you want to save a couple $1,000s that you feel you're going to end up saving by doing it yourself. But the reality is by using a professional, you have that layer of protection, you have insurance, you have E&O, you have a distance between yourself and the buyer. That's what we're here for, is the protection. Liability is 100%. Liability is all on the seller. If the seller forgets to disclose one little thing, they're liable. And when they're for sale by owner, what are they going to do about it? They have no E&O, they have no insurance to cover their butts. If they find guilty, they're coming out of pocket to pay those expenses. They're constantly defending themselves. Everyone makes mistakes. A seller or buyer who doesn't have the representation of a licensed agent pays for those mistakes. So that is an excellent line. You're not perfect. We're here to protect you, and at the end of the day, those little imperfections won't end up costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So if a FSBO lists hardwood floors as a feature and the buyer discovers that they're just wood veneer, chances are that that seller is going to have to pay for that mistake and put hardwood floors in their house. An agent would either have caught that mistake or been covered over E&O insurance. So that is a big point number 2. Paperwork is daunting. Now again, you're going to get hit with, well, I can do it myself. Yeah, well, you can probably also landscape yourself. You can also build a house yourself. You can also maintain your car yourself. But time is money, and this is not your profession. Are you a jack of all trades, or would you like to hire a professional to handle this? So ultimately, yes, you can do it yourself, but you're not going to have the protection, and you're not going to have the education that you guys are getting on a daily basis. That's a big selling point right there too. I'm not calling you that you don't understand, but there's things in this industry that only an expert would know, or only a professional would know, because we're in it on a daily basis. Paperwork is daunting. In 2015, National Association of Realtors, profile of home buyers and sellers showed that understanding paperwork was one of the most difficult tasks in for sale by owners. There are so many little clauses in that contract, and they ask those questions, and an interpretation of a contract can be interpreted differently by a for sale by owner, because they're interpreting it one way, but they're not educated on the correct interpretation of how the contract was supposed to be written. And that's coming right down from Gov, and that's why our attorneys and paralegal write these contracts. But the interpretation is huge. So if you're not educated on that interpretation, then you're just going to make up rules as you go. And making up rules as you go ultimately causes mistakes. And those mistakes end up costing you money. And that money, you don't have any protection with insurance, and therefore it's going to come out of your pocket when you're found guilty. Or you're going to have to hire an attorney to show that you were acting in good faith and you just made a mistake. And at the end of the day, that's going to cost you money. So really, well, I've sold a lot of homes in my days. Yeah, I get that. It only takes once to screw up. You've gone through your whole life making this nest egg, and you're about to jeopardize everything because you want to save a couple thousand, or you believe you're going to save a couple $1,000s. Sellers get stuck in bad deals. I've heard of a seller that took a $50 deposit to sell his house. If that thing goes sideways, what's the liability of that buyer ever just deciding to back out? Lose $50. Big deal. So you're going to put all of your eggs on that basket that you're going to move on in life and have a umbrella of $50 to cover this transaction. Most of the time they don't think about the bigger picture. They're just looking at the little things, but they don't realize that they're setting themselves up for failure when they move on to go on to other transactions. FSBOs who sign on the dotted line and then realize they have an error are stuck. Now they're going, how do I get out? A contract's a contract. So the moment they sign, it's difficult, and then we have to get in and find out if there's ways to fix. But at the end of the day, those fixes typically cost money because someone is going to have to concede, and it's always a negotiation on how that works out. For sale by owners sell less. In 2016, FSBOs lost about 16% of sale price with a median price of 210. So again, this is on a nationwide average. Yeah, I pulled these statistics from NAR. Am I correct to say? You did. So I can stand up here confidently and say that the average sale price across the U.S. is 210. That is not anything reflected in our market, but as an average, we're seeing 16% less when they sell on their own. Typically, they're all excited, they go into contract, and then there's always problems in the contract that end up adjusting that purchase price. And that is when they lose money, or they don't know how to negotiate diplomatically where they're able to continue to do business together with the person on the other end. And maybe they end up losing time. They end up killing the deal because they can't come to terms. They should have never accepted those terms in the beginning, which ultimately caused a dead deal in the future, which cost them time. Time is money. Second offer comes in, and now they're not getting that purchase price they wanted. Again, these are all timelines of how a transaction can formulate with a for sale by owner who just is excited because they got an offer. Coming down to For sales by owner spend more time on the market. Unless the seller knows someone who wants to buy the home, for sales by owner FSBOs take a longer time to be listed. On average, 18% of FSBOs were unable to sell within their chosen time frame in 2016. So everybody times money, it's sitting out there. They might not have the resources that you do. The biggest selling point is each one of you guys is different. Each one of you guys has a network and has a database and has a sphere of influence that no one else has because it's yours. And that's always something that you can bring to the for sale by owner and say, look, I have this that no one else has. That is always my go-to close is I have a network. I understand you're shopping agents, but I have a network that that agent doesn't have. Because they go, what do you have differently? I have a network that no one else has because it's mine. I service it. I work it. It's my network. That makes sense. That's powerful when you can stand in front of the seller and go, you don't have these contacts. I have the contacts. I have the relationships. That's why you're hiring me, is because I am a person of relationship. I bring people together. The biggest thing is like that internet. Oh, I throw it on the big websites. That's great, but are you going to be taking those calls 24/7? And when you do, are you going to be on your A game when they call to be able to answer questions right there on the spot? Or are you just going to get frustrated because your phone rings all day long and it's the same questions, and after a while, you're just mad that you're not getting any bites and your phone's still ringing with the same questions over and over and over again. Guess what? That's my job. I deal with that all day long. I deal with the agents all day long. I deal with the sellers, the buyers. Are you ready to handle that task? Inspections are problematic. Most of the time they get this inspection report, they don't know how to read it properly to find out what is the issues and what are the non-issues. And so everything becomes an issue that's put on those inspection reports because they're not trained to be able to look through the small stuff, to be able to negotiate and work through that. So sellers who don't know the rules can get stuck with unnecessarily cost and repairs. Oh, well, this is you have to fix it in order to sell. You have to do termite in order to sell. You have to fix these electrical issues in order to sell. And they start going, oh my gosh, maybe I do. You have to have section 1 and 2 done because my lender says that it has to be done. So you have to do it. Right there, that little bit of lack of knowledge just cost them $3,000. And it's gone like that in an instant. So when we're negotiating our commissions and you're talking about $500,000 in transactions, you can sit across the table and be like, $5,000–6,000 and be gone in an instant. That's a lot of money to you, but in this transaction, that's nothing if you're not doing this correctly. Hidden costs start adding up. The mindset for most for sale by owners is all about saving money, but they don't realize all the behind the scenes. Chances are the sellers are being nickeled and dimed into a pretty big chunk of change. They're paying for lots of extra advertising, signage, flyers, photography, attorney fees, and the list goes on and on. So they want to double check everything they're doing, and by the end of it, they go, wow, I just spent $12,000 on stuff, and 4 of it was just a total waste of money. Oh, I did a big billboard ad about my house for sale, but I got no return on investment on that. I did whatever. I signed up for this, but at the end of the day, they don't have a tracking system in place to find out is that money giving a return and allowing buyers to see their house and getting the maximum exposure. So, and they're constantly being bombarded, just like you guys are, with solicitors going, oh, sign up for this. Sign up for that. I see that you listed your house for sale by owner. Well, in order to do it, you need to do this, this, and this. And they're writing checks all day long to sign up thinking that they're getting really good exposure. Time is money. The biggest cost to a homeowner is their time because everybody knows the market is shifting on a daily basis. It's always changing. And it might not be changing on a national average. It might be changing just on a local average. It might be changing literally next door. And if they're, perfect example, I took a listing and now I have another listing. If this listing goes on the market and mine doesn't sell, time is what's going to end up costing them. because now they have competition in their market. So if they're for sale by owner and all of a sudden they tried selling for 30 days and all of a sudden 2 more properties popped up for the market next month, they've now shot themselves in the foot because now they're competing with 3 other offers. And they're learning the process of how to sell their property. And that learning experience has just cost them potential sale because now they have competition and there's only one buyer and that buyer took another property. Or these sellers are in a different mindset and they're at a lower price. And now ultimately your seller goes, darn, I have to start competing because there's only one buyer in the marketplace and now I'm having to compete. And that's the instant mindset that jumps to. So it's not just a matter of, what's current on the market right now. It's time is money. If you don't do this correctly, first impression is everything. You can go stale, and by the time you go stale, if another property pops up, you could pretty much just be sitting on your property or you're going to do a price reduction. So you shot yourself in the foot. Most difficult task for sale by owners, getting the right price. So 18%, they typically just, how'd you get your price? I don't know, it's what I owe on the house, and therefore I want to make money, so therefore that's what I'm listing it for. Getting the house prepared for sale. This is 13%, don't have the eye to see what is things that you should be doing to get your house prepared versus not, and they're wasting their time. I mean, I have a seller right now that was going to be a for sale by owner, and he was about to dump thousands into his backyard because his backyard isn't clean enough. And ultimately it needs about $900. Go in there, throw some sod down, clean this up, trim the bushes, take some trash away and call it good. He wanted to go and re-landscape his whole backyard because he felt that would make the difference in the sale. And I'm telling him, not in the condition in the area, the neighborhood you're in, just keep it basic to what the other neighbors have. You're selling, you're not going to live here. You want the backyard because this is what ultimately your dream of a backyard is. But we're not buying your dream house, we're selling. So just get the house done. I'd actually take more money and put it towards staging than put it towards the backyard. Let's basic the backyard and give me $2,000 for staging, and let's call it good. Understanding and performing paperwork. This is a big one because, we have new people that come in this office all day long. That's the general public. They're not trained yet. You've seen how they're handling paperwork. It's hard. And there's a lot of clauses, and there's a lot of checkboxes, and there's a lot of understanding of why you do things you do. One checkbox, $1,200. Dad first getting started didn't check title insurance. $1,200 because he forgot to check it. That was that your first transaction, second transaction? 1 or 2. So that's general public. He was a newbie coming in, forgot to check a box, $1,200. Selling within the planned length of time. So, they typically have a game plan of like, I'm trying to sell within here. Having enough time to devote to all aspects of the sale, I would think that would have been higher, but most people have full-time careers, full-time jobs. And if it only takes one buyer and they get a phone call and they're at work, they can't take that call, that's a potential lost sale. And most people don't realize or think like that. Do you have any FSBO nightmares you want to share with the group? So let's open up for 30 seconds. Anybody got a FSBO nightmare? Anybody took over a FSBO that was a potential nightmare? No? Yeah. I don't have it either, so I got that. By the time it's a nightmare, it's so bad at that point that it's hard to unravel what they've done to themselves. You got a nightmare, Trina?
Well, that one that I was going to show you here in Cayucas that another agent took on, but it's like priced way over market. The owners had an open house every weekend, and it's known as the house. What's wrong with that house? Because it's been on the market for so long.
So now they've created a stigma against their own house.
Yeah, and so this next agent might have a hard time trying to take that over.
Good example. They try, and then all of a sudden the community starts labeling that house as what's wrong with that house, which ultimately means we're not paying whatever you think it's worth. We are always going to undercut your value. And it's going to take time to take that stigma away. So ultimately, they would need to drop it off the market or do some drastic marketing, publicity, changes of perception to the market in order to keep that value up. And if they're not game planning that type of perception, and that could ultimately be that big property premiere, inviting a bunch of people and giving away free food to change the mindset of the public, because they now have a stigma against their house.
And it's people coming from out of the area, even not just the locals. I've gotten calls from buyers interested in that area, and they're like, "What's wrong with it? It's been on the market forever." So
yeah, that days on market is that first impression's big. When does a property go stale where it's just your days on market are killing you? I think 21. I mean, I don't have any stats. I'm just
Well, that is a stat from the national board.
21 days.
If you don't have an offer in 21 days, the price is usually too high. I forget, like 72% of the reason why.
So our average days on market for our county,
That's not an offer, dude.
sure. Now, you might be able to answer this. Do days on market continue even when you go independent?
It's pending and it comes back on the market. But we start with days on market.
And then the complete days on market is going to show it from start to finish.
CBOM.
yeah.
It's usually 2 or 3 days more.
These are good questions. These are good things to keep an eye out. If you go into escrow, check your days on market the following day, see if it keeps tallying. So this is San Luis Obispo County, and it just pulls everything together. I don't know if you had this or not, but right now we're at about a 61-day average days on market. This is everything from Paso down to Santa Maria is what I pulled. And I'm sorry, Paso and Napomo. And I don't believe we had Santa Maria in there. You're in typical 30-day escrow. Again, I don't know if the days on market stops or continues.
Stops.
It does stop.
Go to escrow. So if you show pending, days on the market stops.
Okay.
If you put it back on the market, it shows left on. So if you're on the market 7 days, you're in escrow for 15. Put it back on the market. So
It should be 8.
on the market 8 days. Okay.
Okay, well, that's some homework to verify that, because that's good information to know. Your days on market are super important to keep an eye on that. So I agree with that. Anything about my experience is about 30 days. I feel a property starts on stale at that point. And so it's usually around that 3rd to 4th week, I'm talking to them about either price reduction, or I'm really looking at my marketing because maybe I oversold and I didn't follow through with what I told them I would do for them. And maybe it is my marketing and I need to put some more time and effort into how I expose this property. Because it isn't always price. If you take a listing, you don't do anything with these people, you're not doing anything. Did you make your phone calls? Did you go through the prospecting? Did you do reverse prospecting? How many places is it out? Are you checking your realtor.com and Zillow to make sure that everything is accurate out there? Those are still your responsibility to do. And if you're like, oh, I threw it on the market and I really haven't looked at my property at all, then it probably is some effort on your end as well. So it's not always the seller's fault. Take responsibility. You can look at a home objectively. Okay, so what are the advantages of using an agent, a realtor? Access to market data about recent sales and other homes on the market that can be used to price your home appropriately. I would not lean on that one a lot, because now with the internet, most sellers are pretty educated. At least they feel they are. So it's hard. Ultimately, you become in a battle of wits of who's smarter than, and that never will win. So be careful on that one. Studies show that home priced right when they're first listed sell quickly for higher price than those that linger on the market. So it goes back to that. You have 3 ways to price a house: under market, at market, or above market. Under market, good chance of us getting a bidding war and the market's going to correct itself. At market, no advantage or disadvantage. You're right in that range. And again, you don't have to be to the penny. You're selling the client that this is the range, and you're typically, would you say like 1%, Dad? So if you're at a $500,000 property, you should be somewhere in like that $5,000 range of pricing it. 1% should be in that ballpark. And you're saying, hey, if you got something in this ballpark, I would advise you to take it and run.
What do you do if you get, like you were saying, price it under the market for bidding war? There's no bidding war happens.
If you feel you priced it under the market and you didn't get offers, then you didn't price it under the market.
Well, no, if it's under the market and you're getting offers, but you're not, let's just say it only increases 2,000 or 3,000.
Then the market corrected itself, but at the end of the day, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is what the offers I can bring to you. So we can either accept these, and are they within that range that I thought they would fall in, or we're going to need to wait for other offers. But we still have a 30-day window before it goes stale, and at that time, you might end up falling back down to these range. If your research and your input is the house is somewhere in this range, and you're getting offers in that range, then most likely that is the range. And that's the statistics. Those are the facts that you're bringing to them. That all the buyers are giving the impression that this is the value of your home. And this is the most buyers are willing to pay for it. And here's the offers to show that. And we've been 14 days now. And this is the best that's coming. What do you want to do? Then you can start negotiating terms. And terms might be timed, which could ultimately lead to value for if you get into the bidding war, you need to make sure you have your tools sharpened on how to handle bidding wars. And that means you need to have thick skin. That means that you need to be able to tell people yes and no. And someone will be a loser. Someone will win, someone will lose. And ultimately, you need to be the one that you can't lead them on, but your job is to try to get the most value for your clients. So you can't give information away either. And you need to treat them fairly. But ultimately, you can't get emotional in it. Oh, I'm so sorry, you're not going to get this. You need to, you just need to treat them fairly and say, hey, just what you can do is what you can do. Put it on paper, get it back to me. Have zero involvement on how they write their offer. It will save your reputation, and ultimately, you won't piss agents off on the other end that don't get it. Because there will be a loser eventually, and they'll be very upset that they lost if you let them on that they were going to win. So be careful about that. Buyers typically Trina, I'm going to mute you. Okay, never mind. Okay, buyers typically prefer to look at a home without the seller present, so they feel more comfortable exploring rooms, visualizing themselves. At a FSBO, the sellers typically are present. Must be, the word must is very strong, but most of the time a seller is going to want to be there as a for sale by owner to answer questions. They don't want randoms because they don't realize who's in their house.
Oh God, they're going to follow people around and sell the house too. It's like, you see what I did in the kitchen here?
Yeah, and it makes it very uncomfortable for buyers to truly feel at home or try to visualize. The seller is still proud of their house, so they're selling how proud they are of their house, and the buyer really doesn't care. And they're not there to make a friend, and they're there to see, can I live in this home? You can screen visitors to your home, which provides a measure of safety for sellers, but FSBOs don't have that luxury. In addition, by checking to see if the buyers are legitimate or can afford to purchase a home, this can help sellers not waste time. You have expertise on contracts, support that can help market the home more widely than an individual. You can help negotiate a contract. You have zero emotion involved in the transaction. I can't tell you how many times the transaction went through and it's like, cool, but I'm not buying the house. I'm not selling the house. I'm happy you're happy, but I have no emotional tie to this house. when a transaction goes sideways, I'm sorry that it went sideways, but I'm glad that it happened earlier in the transaction and drug on, and I have no emotional involvement in that. I will cut someone loose the moment that they drop the ball and they've misled my client because they jumped ship on lending and they went to a different loan program. I'm cutting them loose. You know, I don't tolerate that sort of stuff, but I have zero emotion. We'll throw another buyer in there that is qualified. I'd rather get that out of the way in the beginning. Whereas a for sale by owner might continue to try to work with this person and all of a sudden drag on for 45 days to find out they're not qualified and the deal's dead anyway. You know, you have to have a sharp blade when you cut people loose because it's hard to tell them we're out, we're done. We're not doing this anymore. You just had that conversation on Pearl. They want.
Got it 2 days ago, American Escrow.
Right? Like, this guy wasted and now he's asking for another 45 days. Like 45 days, so you want a new escrow. Cool. You can rewrite on it when we're competing with other offers. You're out.
He's out.
He's out.
Got a brand new offer.
Okay, yeah, totally out. It would be hard for a seller to do that because they start getting emotionally tied with this buyer because they're so excited somebody wants to buy their house that they give them the benefit of the doubt. Why do you think they hear that realtors are jerks or realtors are mean or I hate realtors? Because we have to be the bad guys sometimes.
$5 for the buck.
Woo! Tips for converting for sale by owners. What do FSBOs needs? Always try to put your head in the seller's head. Like put yourself in their shoes. One way is to build a relationship and trust by giving them what they want. Show them how to sell the home alone. Show them what they're about to get into. Explain to them. Because the more you explain, the more you're showing value of you know what you're doing. So if you're constantly battling on of all the faults that are going to happen, then they're just on the defense. They're not open to hear you. They're constantly just defending on, oh, you're just trying to sell me because you want the commission. No, let me explain to you what you're about to go through. Let me explain to you why you think for selling by owner is a great idea. Let me explain what the process is of selling. And then you really need to dig in deep on the amount of phone calls that come in, on the amount of effort that happens on a daily basis, on what you do on a daily basis.
Tell what it takes to do this is really overwhelming.
You need to be overwhelming in that statement. They think all you do is go play golf all day or sit and wait for the phone to ring and that's your job. Like you work for 1 hour to get a contract signed and then you hang out and do nothing. You're a real estate professional. No one is better suited to show them how to sell their home than you. If you want to separate yourself from all the agents trying to pick up the low-hanging fruit, just get an easy listing because that's exactly how for sale by owners feel about agents calling them. Oh, so you don't have any business and all you're doing is calling for sale by owners trying to get that low-hanging fruit. Look, buddy, you're sitting out on the market. You're going on 28 days. You've been trying it your way. It's not working. I get that you get these phone calls all day long, but I haven't talked to you. What's your experience so far? So what have you been doing to sell your house? Make sure you're always asking, what else? What else? What else? You need to continue to ask what else until they run out of things to say.
They will.
And they will. They'll be like, oh, I threw it on Zillow. What else? I had a for sale sign in my front yard. What else? How many calls have you been getting? Like, go through your tracker of what you should be tracking in your business and see how well they're tracking themselves on their return. Use words like, oh, so you've spent money on this. What's been your return on, what's your ROI on that? How many leads have you been getting? Talk language with them on what our language is all day long. All we think about is leads. What's our lead conversion and how many buyers have I picked up because of this marketing efforts? You need to talk to them in that terms because then they'll understand maybe I'm out of my lead. You need to build a deep, meaningful relationship with the homeowner in order to get the trust. So right there, if you're calling, you're making your for sale by owner calls, you're calling, and right out of the gate, you're hitting them with, well, I can do it better than you, you're dead in the water. No, it's not I can do it better than you. It's I can do it better than you. I understand what you're doing right now. It's obviously not working. Would you like to know what I would do differently? Take it for what it is. Try it yourself. Try my methods. You learn. It took me years to learn my tools, to sharpen my edge. It took me years to learn this, to ingrain this into who I am. You're going to do it in 15 days. Good luck. Imagine how refreshing it might be for a homeowner to receive a simple text. I saw your home for sale. I found the article that might help you, give you some pointers attached. I've been a realtor for 20 years. That's value. That's you not soliciting. It's, hey, I get it. And if I can, I'd love to see your home. You're ultimately reaching out because if you can't get the listing, you're still wanting to know about inventory. Your job is to know about every piece of property that's for sale in the marketplace. So there is no misleading or I'm just going after the listing. You need to know about that house. That house is for sale. And when buyers call, you need to know about that property. So ultimately, while you're doing that process of trying to learn about the property, you're also trying to be a resource for that person and being helpful. That's how you gain trust. You're not just going for the sale. You're going, I know you're going to fall on your face. Let me help you pick it up. And eventually, you're going to fall so many times that you're going to be done. And I want to be there. If you have a good conversation with them, you can tell them that. So how many times have you failed? How many times have you flopped a phone call when they call? How many times has someone got under your skin and you blew up on them because they showed up at your house and they forgot to make an appointment and you told them that you didn't want to show your property and the buyer will say, well, aren't you wanting to sell? As they walk away and they're mumbling under their breath and you tell them to go, that's the interaction that most people have when they're not professional. They're just like, well, I'm going to be in the right, so I'm going to get the last word in. That example just happened. That's why it was very detailed in that. Investing in a relationship will go further than just a form of advertising. So making those phone calls are your initial contact. But change up the script. It's not always about the sale sometimes. Change it up, try to be different than what every other agent is doing. They're calling just to get the listing. You are calling to get the listing, but try a different tactic. When it comes time for a homeowner to give up and finally pick an agent, what agent do you think they'll contact? A random agent? Or the agent that's been pestering for a month about the listing their home? Or a friend that happens to be the agent? It's going to be the one that gives value. Constantly give value. Hey, I know that you said you're selling for sale by owner. I respect that. I want to be top of mind. I kept thinking of you when I saw this article, so I wanted to shoot it over to you. There's a new way of marketing. I wanted to enlighten you on that. And they go, why are you being so helpful? Because the moment that it doesn't work out for you, if it doesn't work out for you and you get frustrated, I'm just looking for an opportunity. I just want an opportunity to sit down with you to show you what I can do. Would it be worth 10 minutes of your time if I can do what you're trying to do better than you? Would it be worth it? I'm not being arrogant. I'm not being like, you do a lousy job, but I am being confident in the fact that I do this on a daily basis, so I can see fault in what you're doing right now, and ultimately that's value.
I put my owner's house still my owner. So I walked up to the door and said no soliciting. So I sent her a postcard. It took about a week. She did answer me back. And I told her I'd like to come by and see her house. So she goes, you're the first agent that's actually called me that I could like the human. She goes, I've got this FSBO and I got some people looking at it. If they don't buy it in the next 20 days, it's yours.
Wow.
They bought it on day 18.
Dang it!
I know, I'm trying.
Where'd she go?
She's got 8 houses in San Andreas.
So is that a good follow-up lead?
Yeah.
It is.
I've talked to her since.
Good. It's an excellent follow-up lead. So how'd the transaction go? They bought it, they went into escrow. How's that transaction? You're following through with the transaction. You got to be a little distant on how you advise per transaction. But ultimately things start going sideways, you can step in to help facilitate it at that moment. If she reaches out and saying, I need help. Negotiate contract work, technically work that can only perform for clients, but homeowners will understand that. Giving marketing advice and guidance such as how to stage your home and tips are good open house, valuable thing that you can give to FSBOs. So that was what I just said. Like you can't give technical advice, contract advice, stuff like that. Even when their transactions going sideways, you could be like, you know, I'm not your representative. You might consider doing something along this line, but I'm not your representative. Y'all ultimately need to always end up with, I'm not your representative. If you'd like to hire me at this point, I can facilitate this and I can do my best to start helping you get out of the trouble that you've put yourself in. But now we need to talk about, am I wrong to say that? Because the seller still has the right to choose somebody during the transaction.
That could be offensive.
Offensive, yeah. But if they're in trouble, yeah, you're going to offend somebody because it's like you got yourself in this mess. And now you're looking to get out. Now I'm of value to you. Let's talk.
About 8 months ago, I was walking in the neighborhood. And I walk up and off and talk to people. And there was a house with a for sale sign in the front, so I passed. Well, the guy comes outside and says, hey, you got a unit? I go, yeah. He goes, can I talk to you? I said, sure. I'm looking at the sign. And he says, come here, I want to show you something. So I walk in his house. He goes, take a look around my house. You see anything wrong with it? No. It's nice looking home. He goes, well, this agent that I hired said it's better not to have open houses. She don't have many open houses. That's okay. He said, would you do it differently? I said, I really can't elaborate on that. This is her listing. I said, if it goes off the market, here's my card. But I said, other than that, I didn't know what to say because I don't want to get myself in trouble.
That's actually a perfect safe.
You know, I mean,
that's the safe it is. The fact he's soliciting. So you can get into a conversation of, if this goes off the market, this would be my marketing plan. You can, but again, now you're running the risk of potentially being called out that you're being unethical on this.
That's what I was.
Now, if that client protects you and says, no, I called him over, I solicited him. He clearly told me that I was not talking about this moment in time, that I was talking about future business, then you're 100% fine, because it is Article 16.4. It says you're able to talk about future business or different business, like property management, different representation. We can discuss as well. But yeah, that is a nice safe bet. It's like, on my listing, I'm out. Call me when the listing expires. I'll be happy to tell you what I would do differently. Because yes, I would do things differently. I ended on that.
He went into a lot of elaboration. Fight.
Yeah.
You can't interfere with that agent relationship.
No.
Huh?
You can't interfere with that
No,
agent
I didn't.
relationship.
I just.
So you can. So there is a fine line between current and future. So future, you can. Current, you cannot. So it is always best to just stay in the clear of not involving yourself at all.
I wasn't sure what to say, and I'd never been in that spot, so I figured if I can work my way out of here.
Anytime that comes up, because it's come up quite a bit, where I've seen agents that get called out a week before it expires, you need to make sure that you're documented as far as they solicited you, you responded with, I cannot talk or discuss anything about your current listing. That if I come and talk to you, it is purely about you hiring me after the expiration. And that little clause, that little right there, can hold up all day long. Because they solicited you, they're asking questions to you, and you're clearly telling them that I'm not going to participate, but I'll participate when it expires. And as long as you have that, then the brokerage document. Like Cole was going on a listing, And we had to document because this owner was reaching out to Cole. And Cole's going, I don't want to talk to him. And he's pushing. He's like, Cole, I want you to come out and talk to me because my listing is coming up for expiration and I'm thinking about moving my business over. The owner documented that. Cole said, I will only talk to you with the expectation that you would hire me after the property expires. But I'm only talking to you about future business on this property. And the brokerage, I'll stand behind that all day long. Document it. It's not a phone call. The moment that it's anywhere in the gray, we have to get it documented because that shows our intent. And then we're not in the gray. Phone calls would be in the gray. There's no way of knowing whether it's true or not. Following things that you can offer to FSBOs. So referral to a destination city. So that's why I asked, where is she moving? Help her find a new place. Ad writing tips. So let me help you write your ad. I'm really good at that. That's a good thing. Tips on preparing their house for sale. Ideas for planning a successful open house. I'll tell you right now, the ad writing is probably the most valuable one that I think. That's something that most people won't offer because that is hard to do. Like, I'm not a big writer.
I said that to her. She goes, oh, I have Google.
A loaner for sale sign. At the back of the sign, have a statement that says the sign is courtesy of blah, blah, blah. That's kind of a cool marketing tip.
It is.
Never thought about that, putting a for sale sign or helping note and then just making the sign right away that says courtesy of. Newspaper articles about the real estate market. Newsletter or informational letter that you get specific information about sales in the area. Financing information. A net proceed estimate and a market evaluation. These are all things you can offer as a free service without jeopardizing anything. Show FSBOs the long list of all involved marketing. Okay. Illustrate the examples of what real estate pros through the MLS, the relationship with top producers can expose FSBOs to the widest buyer. Promote yourself. This is where having your brochure, that's a self-marketing brochure. All it does is basically take your resume and puts it online with a nice marketing thing. Three-fold brochure, have a bunch in your car, and you're handing these things out all day long with your business card. Offer to charge a lower fee if the seller finds the buyer. Where are we headed with that one? Listing agents may be able to win over a for sale by owner. Oh, this is what Gary was talking about. So he used to use this all the time. He'd say, yeah, I'm a 6% agent. We're going to offer 3% and 3%. And they're balking and balking. Finally, he'd say, well, tell you what, if you bring your own buyer, then I'll facilitate the buyer for 1%. And he said, never once did the seller ever bring a buyer. So never once did that ever actually come to fruition. So, he was able to close on the transaction where the buyer went, aha, I'm still in charge, for the seller. I'm in charge. I get to bring my buyer. He'll facilitate the transaction at 1%. I'm able to do this transaction at 1% all day long. Gary's like, I would write that thing in there all day long to close the transaction to get the listing because that seller would never bring the buyer. The chances of that seller actually bringing the buyer are something. On a caveat on that, I've used this now, and I've told my seller, make me a list of everybody on your list, and anyone on that list, I'll facilitate the transaction at 1%. That way there's no question, there's no awkwardness later on if we ever come in a disagreement on who preferred the buyer or not. So, and I think I used that at that one guy. I should, again, you sign with me now, and I'll agree to do it. Yeah. So, yes, I will do it at what? I will facilitate the transaction. You need to make me a list prior to going on the MLS. And if you sign with me right now, I'll agree to those terms. If you don't sign with me, the answer is no, I'm not going to do it. Do the takeaway. And 9 times out of 10, you'll never have to actually honor it because the seller will never bring a buyer. So, and if he does, cool. Like, more power to him. You didn't have to spend money on your marketing. Great. Present data. All right. Present data that highlight the benefits of representation. point to data showing the agent represented listing. So if you have the data, or go to NAR, but get the data that shows, hey, FSBOs take longer to sell, agents sell properties quicker. Agents who excel with FSBOs make it a point to role play practice and have good scripts or just a game plan of how you're going to objection handle for everything. The objections you get when dealing with for sale by owners is typically the same every single time. And it always has to do with, I want to save money. So you better have your arsenal ready with like 10, 15 things that you are not going to save money by doing it yourself. And here's all the stats. And here's NAR explaining this to you. And here's my experience, because stories sell. And at the end of the day, by using me, you will make more money. You need to convince them of that. Here's where you can find FSBOs. Buyowner.com, fisbo.com, fisbo.net, Zillow, FSBOs, for sale by owner, and Craigslist. These are all great resources to go to on a daily basis. Oh, I check the newspaper. Newspaper clients are going to be the older clients, but they're also going to be the more wealthier properties. This is just the way that they know advertising is paper advertising. Presentation of format. How am I doing on time? 7 more minutes. Okay. The purpose of the introduction is to build rapport. Begin by greeting the person and stating your name and that you're from Hubbell Real Estate. Ask if they have a moment to talk. Reason for calling. Present your reason for calling quickly. Don't fumble in the first couple seconds. They'll hang up. And they already know you're calling to solicit, so you've got to come off as not soliciting. Give information. I wanted to let you know, Mr. Smith, the house next on the block just sold. Offer something. Would you be interested in market evaluation? Would you be interested? I just found an article that was happening in your neighborhood. I thought this might be relevant to the value of your house. I, as a local agent, would like to see the values continue to maintain, and I want to make sure you don't just give your home away, so I'm kind of watching out in the best interest of you. This article explains a lot of up-and-coming changes that are happening in our community, and thought it was good information for you. Request for their business. The request for the business follows a reason for calling. It's vital to your success in real estate. The way that you ask for business will depend on your situation and your desired outcome. For example, have you thought about moving? Yeah. Well,
I'm going to sell my house and sit here.
Some people throw it on Zillow that says make me move. They have no intention of moving, but they just want to see, hey, can I get top dollar? You give me the top dollar, makes absolutely no sense with the market for the price, and I'd move at that point.
I'd rather ask, like, what's your motivation for moving?
Yeah, what's your motivation for moving? I see you have it on price. If you take them down the avenue, if I see you have it on price and on Zillow make you move, you seem to be asking for the world right now. What's your motivation? You're going to get a defense question. I don't think it's overpriced. I think it's exactly what it's worth. And I'm only taking top dollar. I'm not taking a penny less.
Take them in and tell them it's overpriced.
I know. So, ultimately, you can't go for the defensive type questions where you kind of got to agree and pat them that, oh, good job that you're putting it up. What's your motivation? Do you know anyone moving in the area or out of the area? Please think of me. All these questions are awful. What's some good questions? So they got their house for sale by owner. What's your opening line? What's your one-liner?
Mine?
Sure, anybody. Throw one
How
out.
quickly would you like to sell your home?
How quickly? That's an aggressive question. How quickly? So I see you've been on the market. How quickly? What were you anticipating for selling your home? How many offers have you gotten? No, I'm just trying to get a feel for your property right now. So tell me, when you get your offer, you're able to move, where are you going? How soon do you want to get there?
What are the reasons you decided to sell it yourself?
So how many times have you gotten these questions? Be blunt with it. Oh, I get this call about 5 times a day. Yeah, how's that working for you?
There's a stat I read, that physicals usually are ready to sell after 17 days, which is 2 weekends.
Well, if you think of it, like buyers are calling them, they are getting buyer calls, but majority they're getting agent calls too. So they're actually getting more calls than putting it on the market. Because, and there's a good, I have 748 listing agents or 748 agents on my database that are out of the FSBO Coast Association. So 748 people, you gotta assume that a third of them are calling. So you might be getting 200 phone calls from the time that you put your property on.
Picking up your weekends for open house that you don't know how to do.
Those are just garbage phone calls too. Like that has no value to the seller as far as they're concerned. They just want the buyers. So all of a sudden they have to weed through all these people, then weed through buyers as well. By the time 17 days came around, they're so freaking done.
Exactly.
They're so done. I don't know whether our industry breaks them down, but that's really what's happening.
I'm sure we contribute.
We contribute a lot to the breakdown of for sale by owners.
I think your stats team, even there's only 20% of us actually doing the work.
That's a good point, yeah. So, I wonder how many, like, Cole makes me laugh. Cole has his on Zillow that says make me good. You know, he's just seeing what's out there. Every time I hire a new agent, that new agent calls Cole and says, oh, because they don't know Cole. They don't know he's in So Cole's constantly getting called. Did you call him one time? I know.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so I know a handful of agents that called. Cole's like, yeah, I work there too. Finally, I told Noah, just heckle the heck out of him. Like, well, where are you at? Why aren't you coming in? Why haven't you sold your house? You need an agent?
What kind of agent are you? You can't sell your own house.
So there's that whole, he throws it on just to see if he can't, without having to put the sign in the ground and you know, does anything like that. It's not. He's doing no advertising in that one.
That's his own house?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to stop it here. Exercise. So if you found an ad in the newspaper, the Pomo home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, large corner lot, 390, call Joe, blah, blah, blah. The desired outcome is to build rapport and create an opportunity for a second contact. Guys, don't just focus. There's a whole bunch of business outside. Everybody just thinks that we're in this small little bubble and that's all you can do. You can be calling FSBOs that are outside your marketplace to potentially build a rapport better than anybody else, and then go help them find an agent and partner with. And that's how you can sell yourself outside of your marketplace. Is my job, one of my jobs is to try to connect two people together. And right now, by looking at what you're doing, I'm a professional over my marketplace, I can help you find one of those professionals. Ultimately, you're still building rapport, but is that 25-30% referral worth the same amount of time and effort over here? Because maybe we only have 10 or 15 FSBOs, but you have 45 minutes in your day to make phone calls. And so by throwing an extra 15, 20 phone calls in the LA area or Bakersfield area or whatever area to try to build rapport, you can ultimately, I mean, Carl is a lender that has gotten so much business from us, and he's over in Oklahoma or
No.
Where's he at?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Way over there.
He's doing business over here, and he's in Pennsylvania because he has serviced us as far as, you know, and so it's the same idea. You're an agent that can service these clients because ultimately you just need to connect them with the right people. If you're working outside your marketplace, if you can't be that right person, you can connect them to the right person. And that is a service that you can offer. Questions, comments, concerns?
Steve, any problem with listening to Pine Mountain?
Is there any,
Does Baker?
do people want to live in Pine Mountain?
Oh yeah, a lot of them do.